All right, 4719 Paget. I love this property, and here's a few reasons why. This one's located in a neighborhood called Wando Woods. It's, right outside of 526, just a little bit north of Charleston. And, everybody, when they think about a short term rental investment, they gravitate towards Park Circle. There's a lot of buzz around Park Circle right now. There's a lot of development, a lot of cool, hip little restaurants, coffee shops, music venues, things like that there. This house is probably a 5 or 10 minute drive from Park Circle. If this house was right on the other line of 526 inside of Park Circle, it would be double the price. Maybe not double. It would probably be about 600, maybe 700,000, just considering its condition. And you wouldn't have a lot size like this one either. And what I also love about this one is that it's a turnkey investment. So there's no renovation needed. It's done, it's set up perfectly. It comes furnished. The comps that I've run, the list price is on point. It's not overpriced. And this one comes furnished with revenue on the books, which that adds value. So you should be able to, I will call Jim back, but you should be able to walk in with some equity. And, the nice thing about when you buy something with revenue on the books is you close, you pay your cash to close, and then immediately a guest checks in, you get some money coming into your account, it's done. You don't have that 3 month amp up period where you're buying all the furniture, getting it ready, you're paying your mortgage all the while, waiting, getting your listing going. And not to mention the time of year. I mean, we're heading into the slow season. So the fact that you can get this, take advantage of the pricing right now with limited competition, and have revenue on the books already established for that slow season to get you through the hump is really great. I've been in touch with the list agent, who's also the property manager. He's phenomenal to work with. He really, really, really knows his stuff. He maximizes his listings and does a great job by his clients, which, if you choose to stick with property management, at least for the first 6 to 12 months while you're learning the property, learning the ropes, I don't think you could pick a better one for this. So yeah, here's just some photos of the house. It's got a great big kitchen. I always look for ways to add value. One of the ways I would look into doing some sort of like screen porch or something that might, be an extra cost down the road, but that would be nice there. And you could do some cool like uplighting in the trees, really make it shine, boost the landscaping a little bit. But there is this barn door here that is actually being used as like a secondary a secondary living space right now. I was talking to the property manager, and he was saying that he thinks that you could really boost revenue by doing like two almost like built-in cubby bunk beds. So putting 4 single beds in that room and making it just like a kid's den / sleeping area. A big segment of demand that we have here in Charleston for homes like this for short-term rentals are families. Whether they're, coming, it's like two moms with their kids coming for a sport event, or a family that doesn't want to be crammed into a hotel room or pay the premium for a short-term rental downtown, or any of the beaches. They want space. They want a yard. They want to be able to cook their own meals. They want, just to have that more relaxed morning and be able to just have that option to have some meals at home. This, in its proximity to downtown, the airport, the plantation, some of the other activities, convention centers and things around, it kind of puts them in a nice location, and it's a great, beautiful, safe area too. So let's go to my number analysis. So we always like to know long-term rents, right? If things don't work out short-term rental-wise, or you want to switch gears, you're looking at somewhere around $2,400 a month or so. That's unfurnished, 12-month standard lease. So that's pretty great. And this is what I love. So basically what I do is plug in, given the fact that they have bookings and they're not able to accommodate as many showings, that always hampers demand a little bit. So I think even though it's priced perfectly fine, I think you could do, a little bit lower right now. So I plugged in 450. This is what this automatically pulled in some comps for me. So it's comping it at 471, which I agree with. your down payment, 20% down. I know the idea of 10% down was floating around, but while that technically is an option, if you're using, a special lender that offers a 10% down for a second home or an investment home, we're just not able to cash flow those right now with the way rates are and the costs in our market. We really think that 20% down for an investment is the way to go. It puts you in a better position equity-wise and cash flow-wise, of course. Not to mention you can avoid PMI. That's usually $200 to $300 just per month. There's just out the window. Like, it's just so unnecessary if you have the funds, and it just makes it more risky. So 20% down is what should be factored in for your down payment. Interest rate 6.75, which is right around where they're at right now, maybe a little higher, a little lower, depending on your situation. Closing costs, and this one does not involve rehab costs. Rents, I put in, an annual rate. So 65 grand is kind of what they're getting. Therefore, I'm not going to also include a vacancy rate because that is the year-long amount after all the vacancies and everything. All their bookings has netted about 65,000. Operating expenses at this stage in the game, I just quick and dirty plug in 50%. This is your property management fees, your vacancies, your rehab, not rehab, repairs, maintenance, CapEx savings, all of that. 50% is usually a good number. Some people like to run their operations more at like 30%, 40%. So if we say 50, we know we're good. Appreciation, again, I'm going to downplay it a little bit. Charleston, historically, if we take out the wild, 2020 to 2002 run up, our annual appreciation in our area is anywhere from 4 to 6%. That's like a 20-year looking back, kind of, we've never dipped below 4%. So I'm plugging in 3. And these two are inflation, right? So 2% is a nice, easy placeholder to anticipate, your bump up in rates, your bump up in expenses. And then the last thing to plug in here is the selling cost. It's always important to factor that in. If you want to sell this asset one day, usually people are paying between 5 and 6%. So that is factored in here, and you'll see where that's plugged in here in a second. And then this bucket here is depreciation. This has to do with your tax benefits. So this is running it as a standard rental, which the rate of depreciation is typically 27.5, meaning you take the price of the property minus the land value and you divide it by 27.5. And that's the number that you will be able to deduct from your taxes when you do your taxes for the year. Short-term rentals, there are more furniture, fixtures, things that need to be replaced more often. People do something called a cost segregation study for their short-term rentals, and it's a way to really boost your tax return or your tax benefits, I guess, of the property. So instead of, say, a 27.5 depreciation period, they will say, okay, well, all my furnishings are worth 40,000. And they have a 5-year depreciation period or something like that. So you can really add big chunks to your stuff that you're deducting from your taxes. I'm not an accountant. I'm not giving tax advice. Please talk to your accountant. But I do know that this little tax benefit is probably the number one driver for why W-2 employees and even business owners have short-term rentals. It's not necessarily the cash flow. It's the fact that they can really make a huge dent in their tax bill and have a cool place to come visit when they want. So it's pretty great. So let's see what this looks like. Property analysis. So this is year 1. So this is your cash needed total input. And obviously these are rough numbers, but we're just getting a sense here of what we're working with. So with all of your expenses factored in, this gives you a net $374 per month positive cash flow after paying for your repairs, after, letting your account build up for your reserves, after all of that stuff's factored in, management fees, taxes, insurance, everything. Your cap rate, 7.2%, and your cash on cash is 4.7%. So not too bad these days. Those are actually really good numbers for where we are in the market right now. And what I like to look at actually is more exciting is this buy and hold projection. So this drags it out over time. Year one, if you can get year one looking good, year three, year five, year 10 is going to be incredible. Rents, rental investment, it's a long-term game. It's not a get rich quick. One rental property, while it's going to be great and hopefully especially great for taxes, it's not going to change your life all that much. But the time in the market really does the magic. So if you kind of look, you see your cash flow increases a little bit year over year. Your tax benefits, I mean, look at that. Your first year deduction, 73,000 off your tax, off your income. I will call Sarah back too. And equity. So your first year, you're walking in with equity. Your second year, equity. I mean, it's just going to grow. This is already factoring in like cost of sales down here, so you can see you're already profitable. If you can make plans to hold this for 3 to 5 years, you're in a good spot. And I think what's interesting too is like this profit is factoring in your cash flow minus your selling costs and obviously the equity, but it's not factoring in the tax benefits that you've accumulated over time. So keep that in mind. I will link to this report, and the deal check is awesome. If you don't have something to run your own deal analysis, I do recommend it. I've used it a ton. You can do all kinds of different situations, like if you're going to go for a BRRRR, just a straight rental, flipping, wholesaling, which we don't really do here, but I recommend it. So let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, give me a ring.